Hey everybody, good morning. John North here on Inside Tennessee. So what's that on your screen? You're looking at a map of the Senate District 6, and Senator Becky Duncan Massey just informed us that's about 205,000 people and a whole lot of miles big. And that is the district. You can see a little bit of West Knoxville down into South Knoxville, and then a whole lot of East Knoxville, Knox County. All right, so we were talking before the break about reproductive services and access to such. We heard from Domonica Bryan, the Democrat. Becky, would you please respond in terms of what, if anything, you think Tennessee law needs further in that regard?
Well, first I want to say that, I'm pro-life not just pre-birth but post-birth. And because it's personal with me, having run Sertoma Center and worked with folks with intellectual disabilities, Libby and Janice and Jacob and all the folks there, those are folks that are in some states are being aborted because they're not perfect. But they were amazing folks and they had amazing lives. And so it really is personal to me. I do believe that there is a good potential that we may need to clarify the bills that we have in place now. I absolutely believe that the life of the mom and the permanent bodily harm, it may need to be clarified, because if doctors are hesitating, which they shouldn't, but if they're in judgment and they think the life is in danger, and like say, Domonica mentioned the 12-year-old. If a 12-year-old has a baby, they probably will never have a baby again. It will totally mess up everything, and that's permanent bodily harm. That falls into that category. I did sign on an incest and rape bill, and we never discussed it, but that was for girls under 14. And the thing about that one is, incest is already illegal, but it's hard to catch the perpetrator. But for that pregnancy to be terminated, the perpetrator had to be charged and identified. And so actually it made it stronger. But what I've done is, obviously we talk a lot about, pre-birth and terminating pregnancies. But what I do a lot is also post-birth. I mean, I'm working on the Promise and Futures bill to give last dollar scholarship for child care. That's a huge issue in our state. I've done things for, like, say, the Pregnancy Workers Fairness Act to give people that. I've supported and advocated where we extend TennCare benefits for a year for people that deliver. So adoption and on. I continue to look for ways to support people, to give them the resources, because sometimes people have said they're terminating their pregnancy because they don't have the resources, and I don't want that to be a reason.
So, Becky, I will commend you that I think you have to push uphill sometimes in your supermajority Republican Party, and that you tend to want to do things that some of your colleagues on the right do not want to do. So I'm going to specifically restrict it. I know you personally do some wonderful work with Sertoma and some of your personal projects, as well as trying to advocate for legislation. But looking at abortion, women's health care rights,
right.
Do you think that your position personally, and I respect that, but as you reflected as a legislator, reflects that of your district? Because the numbers are overwhelming that this district, our state, do not support the legislation that's on the books right now in the state of Tennessee.
Right. Well, I mean, as in anything, you can do a survey people and you can get any kind of, no, wait a minute.
Okay.
Let me finish. You can get any kind of results, you can get any kind of studies. I think most people don't necessarily agree with the late-term abortions, like the bills that that the Democrats all voted against, that partial birth abortion, the botched abortion that up in Washington.
The Democrats here in Tennessee?
No, well, the Democrats in Tennessee that were in Washington.
That would be Steve Cohen.
I know, but yes, but I'm saying that has been advocated as a national policy, and I don't believe that people believe in that kind of elective abortions. I don't believe that everybody believes in no abortions with no restrictions. So I I think there's a wide middle. I don't think a lot of people are real comfortable with
The
total
standards in Roe?
elective abortions.
Okay, even under the standards with Roe versus Wade.
Medical abortions, I think there's a lot more commonality.
So, Roe.
Let's pick another topic. Susan.
Let's
So-
do. Becky, you're chair of Transportation
Right.
Committee and have been very engaged in change lanes and various choice lanes that I frankly cannot wait to happen in Knoxville, Tennessee. What else is on your agenda as far as the infrastructure goes? We've had these horrible floods in Upper East Tennessee this week, and it's going, I mean, with the bridges washed out, do we have the money in our state fund to fix what's happened in East Tennessee? And I know you toured
I
as
toured
well.
it, and basically, as long as all the federal approvals go through because of the federal disaster, then those roads and bridges will be paid for by the federal government, although they're underwater in their funding,
Right.
which is not unusual.
Right.
But that I spent the day with the TDOT folks and the commissioner and the fellow that heads up our Federal Highway Administration. So I think we're going to be okay there. It's going to take time. It's going to take a lot of money, and it's taken a lot of work. But I think the hardest part is that we don't borrow money for our roads. So I passed the Transportation Modernization Act, which put $3.3 billion into our infrastructure roads from general fund money. But the gas tax that's coming in because of not necessarily electric vehicles, but high mileage vehicles, we're getting less money for that. It's counterbalanced a little bit by the growth of population of Tennessee and people driving through here, but we can't keep up with it. So we're going to have to think of other things outside the box, kind of like the Modernization Act, where we can expand, because we just can't keep up with the infrastructure need that we've got. And so I'm going to continue to work with TDOT and our legislature to see what we can do there, and obviously try to get the parking lot out on 40 fixed.
This is a good time for us to take another break. When we come back, we're going to hear from Domonica Bryan on another topic. These two ladies are running for Tennessee Senate. You're watching Inside Tennessee.